2023 has finally passed and many releases from JOYTOY have happened. Some of them I got the fortune to afford and review on this channel. Since we all develop personal preferences, for some reason or the other, for specific action figures, I also had my own. And it is also common to create some kind of end of the year summary, so I will also oblige and share my completely biased list of action figures for 2023. In composing my list of 12 figures, I set some simple rules. I like the figure mecha, which is obvious. It is something that I reviewed on the channel, so sorry Sisters of Battle and Torgaradon. And while I am biased towards 40k, there are some mechas that are simply too good to ignore. Finally, I will restrict myself only to JOYTOY products, so no mythic or cosmic legions. Why 12 and not 10? No real criteria, but let's say that it is because there are 12 months in one single year, just to keep arbitrarity in this video consistent. Having said that, let's start from the bottom position and then moving toward the top. At the bottom we have Terminators. Yes, all of them, because I love Space Marines in Terminator armors, even if the initial wave has some issues like the body proportions, looking at you blue Terminators, or lack of articulations, talking to you Chaplain. But Terminators are simply so iconic for me in the 40k settings that they must be here. Are they perfect? No. Painting could be better, as well as more decoration could be welcome, and so on. But JT ported the old miniatures, so in the future we are hoping to get something better. But these guys, with all their limitations, will go into legend. Iron Fighter Ferros is the best tech marine in my opinion, and he also the only Space Marine of the Iron Hands chapter that I own. Could I ignore tech marines and their set of gadgets for keeping the equipment of their brothers operational? Of course not. And Father Ferros has many gadgets, including a drill and even a movable crane. And JOYTOY also did a decent job with the painting. I also love his bulky figure, and while it is quite heavy on the back and a bit short, he is still on my top list of tech marines. The second Emperor's Champion was a cheap purchase that I did because it was on a sale event, and I would have never expected this little guy to become one of my favorite figures. He has all the cheekiness that you would expect from a Black Templars doing their eternal crusade for the Emperor, and it is just badassery personified. And talking about bulky figures that are also tall in this case, I could not avoid including the new captain in Gravis armor. He is big, tall, armed with a huge chainsword and a power sword, a storm power fist and a cape. And he also has a great head sculpt, and the armor is also well painted with highlights and shading. I love the original Gravis Captain, and this goes directly in the list. Also, I could not exclude Ragnar Blackm, one of the greatest Space Wolves characters that also has a great figure representing him. Even today the quality work made by JOYTOY is clearly visible, with a high level of details and painting. Even the head sculpt is great. The pelt limits the left arm, but Ragnar spread badass charisma in every display case. As such, even if Space Wolves are not my main army, Ragnar is a must-have. The first figures for the Adeptus Mechanicus arrived later this year, but they immediately got me. They are characterized by nice metallic look, many cables and some nice soft plastic clothing that limit the articulations but make for a great final presentation. I got both the Skitari Marshal and the Datasmith, but the latter is the more iconic of the two. This is mostly due to my idea to recreate the scene with the Castellan robot like in the Kill Protocol episode, and 2024 will be the right year. And talking about robots and similars, the Sturm H05 is a great representation of war machines that look very cool, have a high level of customization and many articulation points. In some cases hands are a bit weak to hold their weapons, but these 1/25 scale mechas are just awesome. The only issue is the small scale of the pilot, which looks like a child compared to other 1/18 figures, but this is a small price to pay for some of the most beautiful mechs around. The entire line is great, as examples for all tastes, but the H05 and its red mono eye and heavy loadout is the best for me. Tau are a bit neglected these days, but they got some of the coolest units and a great paint job. Having to pick one unit, the Crisis Battlesuits are both great in their white color scheme. Add to this a weathered battle-worn look, high-tech presentation and weaponry, and a robust stand to make them fly on the battlefield, and you have got an awesome unit in your display. Yes, you cannot open it and insert a pilot, but together with other units on the field, they look great and offer a great potential for optimizing the limited space we all must deal with. Hopefully we will see more of them in 2024. Arjak adds Space Wolf's cool factor to Terminator's impressive presence and doubles it. It is not just a Terminator Space Wolf, he is a huge Terminator Space Wolf, and JOYTOY also improved its look with some of the greatest paint job ever, sparing nothing and creating one of the greatest figures in the entire 40k line. To make things better, he also has great articulations and better proportions than ultramarines Terminators. You cannot ask for more, or not. We are now in the top 3, and the first entry is the Fear 6, a 1/18 mecha from a couple of years ago. The Fear line is well known for its quality, many articulation points, and also a very complex setup because of the different pouches and armor pieces that you have to tight on the robotic skeleton. A fully equipped pilot is also included, also in the 1/18 scale, which is great. Yes, it takes a while to put everything together out of the box, you must tighten them again if you change positions, but the overall result is great. I personally love this mecha style and immediately fall in love with this line. Sadly, this is the only big mech that I have for now, and the older models are very hard to find. Feel free to send a spare one to me if you have it. Grandmaster Volus is my only Grey Knight, and it is awesome. The head sculpt is great, the armor is great, you have a very stone bolter and an awesome thunder hammer. And articulations are also good for such a bulky figure. One of the greatest psychers got an awesome action figure. Ah, if the same was also valid for Tegurius, the ultramarine chief librarian. Just get Volus if you find it on sale. And finally we get to the first position, where I place the Imperial Regent, the Primarch Robute Gilliman of the Ultramarines. For me, he deserves the top place in my list, being one of the greatest JOYTOY achievements. The paint job is great, even if the gold could have been better, including shading and highlights. The armor has incredible and intricate details, there are great articulations, a great head sculpt with an helmeted option, an awesome sword, and a few spare hands for different poses. It is difficult to find defects in this figure, but it would have been nice to have a detachable special effects for the sword. It is the first Primarch ever released by JOYTOY, and it is amazing. Yes, we will have other Primarchs soon, but Gilliman is and will remain the first. We finally got to the end of my personal list. Do you have your own? Let me know in the comments below what your options will have been. Personally, after 1 year of collecting JOYTOY products, I really appreciate the quality of the painting and the technical realization for both mechas and figures. So I would like to see a follow-up on their mecha lines and also a focus on the quality products instead of cheap mass productions like it happened with some 40k lines like Salamanders. In addition, it would be nice for JOYTOY to avoid playing with different scales. It is nice to have a variation, but having firstborn space marines taller than primaries only because they are more recent productions, it is just silly. People who collect 40k figures are often people who want the lore to be reflected in their collections too. Having said that, my personal wish list for 2024 is about having customization and replacement kits, like joints, for our action figures, have some more variation across the different Space Marines factions and not only, and also have some more cool 118 mechas. That's all that I have to say. Have a great 2024, a nice rest of the day, and don't forget to share your choices in the comments section below.